So the next thing that we're going to talk about is appendix carry, specifically the draw and whether it's right for you. Okay, so I'm going to break this down from my perspective and kind of give you some things that work and don't work for me, and maybe that'll help you guys out. So for me, when I appendix carry, my favorite guns are something between a G17 or a G19. And when I say a 17, that means a G17 with a chop job on it to where it's got a 19 grip. And that's what I'm able to conceal so I don't have the side of the grip protruding out. Everybody's bodies are different. I've seen guys carry full-size 17s with X300s on them, including G34s with X300s on them. If your body's built that way, that's awesome. That's a lot of firepower that you're able to carry right up front. The reason why I can't go longer than a G17 barrel length is because between my waistline and my groin region, there's an interference there. And I'm already having to shift things over to generally my left-hand side so that nothing binds and everything stays cohesive down there. If I go to a 19, that's obviously going to give me a little bit of room. In regards to running a light on my gun, man, it's just not built down there for me to run a light on a gun. It's taking up too much real estate. So everybody's different. Like I said, I've seen some body types where they're running a G34 with an X300 on it, or a G17 with a comp on it, which is a little bit longer than a G34. So I'm not telling you what gun to run. I'm just telling you like what works and kind of doesn't work for me. Can I carry a G34? I can, but I can't be sitting in a vehicle and or a restaurant for too long. And my positions start to bind. So that gun has to be in the right position, and I can't be in a compressed position for too long. So that in of itself, yes, I can carry that barrel length, just not for an extended period of time. Now, logic would dictate that I could go to a smaller gun like a G26. The problem that I have going that small is that I have a lot of ammo up in the grip area, and then I have a little bit of barrel. And what happens is the gun, even in a good holster, seems to get a little tippy. Now, this is a little different when you're running like a single stack Glock 43 because you're not dealing with as much ammo in the grip. It's slim and those guns carry slightly different than something that's a little chunky with a short barrel. So just in of itself, the guns start to kind of dictate whether you're going to be able to do that or not. So you're gonna find a window of gun that you're gonna be able to get away with, and you're gonna find the extreme on that where that gun's just not an appendix carry style of gun. Bodies, that's what we're gonna talk about next. I feel a lot of the times when we have a different method of carry, it's like everybody wants to convert people to it. And if you're not doing it, then you're wrong, or you're running old technology. And I always get kind of shocked with that in the industry. It's like, if you don't get up and down like I do, then you're wrong. And the reality is that our body types are all different. We have different injuries and we have different physical attributes. So it's not a matter of, hey, you should appendix carry because that's what all the cool kids are doing. If it works for you, then appendix carry. If you feel comfortable and it helps conceal the gun, because that's what we're looking at. How do we conceal the gun and blend in so that we don't have any issues? We don't want anybody knowing that we have a firearm until that moment in which they realize, holy crap, that guy's got a gun, and then in a blink of an eye, it's over. So with that said, appendix carry may not be right for you, and going to a 3 or 4 o'clock position might be a better option for you. One thing that I like about appendix carry, definitely a pro, is that my weapon and my ammunition, in this case, are all right here. So I have everything in front of me. And one thing that I like about this configuration is, one, it's generally my fastest draw. If I start to work the timer, this is my fastest draw. I like the ability to be able to protect my gun right here in front of me. I like the ability that in the event that I get shot and something happens, I can either holster roll this and get the gun up on target, or I can just easily access it with this hand, which when we're carrying in the 3 or 4 o'clock position, we've got to do one of a few things. Either you'll be able to reach around and grab that gun out of the holster, or you'll have to reach behind you like this to grab the gun out of the holster, or you're just a big herky fella and you should carry a backup in your pocket. So those are some other options, but with appendix carry, everything's in front. So whether it's right-handed or left-handed, it really doesn't matter. You have, and you will be able to gain access to your gun. And not only that, but in the event that we're fighting for the gun, I have a lot more power in my base here than trying to move over. I've got my one hand that's got a lot of power on it, but I'm lacking with this hand. And this isn't like a cop with a duty rig, because typically that's on my right-hand side, and I have both hands, which generate a lot of power going down and keeping that gun in a holster if need be. So there's always pros and cons. Let's talk a little bit about fabrics and the method of draw. So t-shirts, pullovers, there are a few different ways in which you can draw the gun, and the most important thing is finding what works for you based on what you wear on a regular basis. And there are a lot of different fabrics out there, and the t-shirt I really like, especially a good cotton t-shirt, because you can get in there and you can grab that thing, and there's a lot of real estate of fabric to be able to grab and cinch up. But sometimes these synthetics can become a little bit of an issue, and your fingers, in certain cases, everybody's a little bit different and fabrics are different, can almost slip off of it. Now, even puffs like this puff jacket, or I wear a lot of triple-aught design stuff, and there's some synthetics, and what happens is there are 2 layers right now. This isn't one layer. We have an outer skin, then we have a little bit of puff material, and then we have that inner layer. So what sometimes happens is you'll grab that outer layer, that outer skin, and you'll go to move it. And when you go to yank it up and move it, it's almost like it's rolling behind it, and it doesn't get out of the way. So you have to, what I'm going to recommend, as you're getting ready to leave the house and you throw something new on, just empty the gun really quickly and do a few practice draws so you know whether. So do a few practice draws, that way you know what you're dealing with before you go out and then have to do it out in public to save yourself. As far as the draws that I concentrate on, generally what I like to do is I like to come up high and crush garment, okay? And typically one of the benefits is the speed. And the reason why is because this hand is centered right about here, and I'm reaching up, and as long as I know that spot clears that particular garment, then I'm good. What I like about it is my hand's already pretty much prepped to establish that master grip immediately out of the holster. So for me, I really like being able to come in here, crush garment, because I don't have to do a lot of excessive wasted movement. Now, dependent upon what you're wearing, if you do that, what could happen sometimes, especially if you're dealing with a little bit longer garment or sweater type of materials, heavy things, then what can happen is you only get it right about here. So then the next method that I'll do from time to time is I'll come up underneath the garment, sweep it out and around, and drive up and go to the target. The problem is if we start to look at that, or if you were to start to time yourself, this hand isn't here anymore. It's having to come down, which takes a little bit of time, in tenths of a second matter, having to peel it right here, get it back center line so I can establish the master grip. Does it get back to the center of my body where my workspace is so I can start indexing the gun to the target? It does, but it requires movement here, vice just come up, grab, fabric, and go. Now, again, these are my 2 methodologies that I normally practice for myself, mainly because of the type of clothing that I wear. So bottom line is, choose what works best for you.